episode 61. You are listening to the new Glam Gal podcast, the podcast where style meets confidence. Conquer the frustration of trying on clothes and learn to dress and love the body you are in. There are no size or weight requirements here. I'm your host, Miss J. Join me, won't you? Hey, Glam Gals, welcome back to the podcast. This week, we are going to do a little bit more mindset work because I think this is such a powerful tool that I'm going to teach you this week that it's going to be a real game changer for some of you. And it's mindset work that creates stylish actions. So if you've been following the podcast for any amount of time, you know that I work from what's called the thought model, that you have a circumstance, and in this case, your clothing is a circumstance, and it's a lump of fabric with no magical powers until you have a thought about it. And that thought will produce a feeling, which will produce a set of actions and get you a certain set of results. So in the example of clothing, your clothing, let's say you're wearing jeans and a black t-shirt, and you have a thought that you look frumpy, and you feel maybe shame, and you act from a place of shame, which means sometimes you don't make some good choices in terms of your food. You decide not to move your body. You decide not to get your makeup on. You decide not to do your hair, and you end up nitpicking yourself all day long. And the result is that you don't feel stylish, that you actually treat yourself in a frumpy manner. The result will always prove the thought true. Here's why this is so important. A lot of you walk around saying some pretty mean-ish to yourself. Your Tallulah brain, which means that inner mean girl, that inner critic that we talk about, your Tallulah brain is constantly telling you some really mean stuff. And part of the reason why is because you're asking some pretty terrible questions. You wake up and you say, what am I going to wear today? Why is life so hard? Why can't I ever seem to look stylish? Why am I always running out of time in the morning? Why does nothing fit me? Why am I so fat? Why am I so ugly? And on the list of really negative, crappy questions goes. Here's the problem. Our brains are wired to answer the questions we ask it. So when we ask it a negative question, it's going to give us a negative answer. So if I ask myself, why am I so fat? My brain will give me lots of reasons why I'm so fat, none of which are particularly kind. If I ask my brain, why do I feel so dumpy? Why am I so ugly? My brain will tell me why it thinks I'm ugly and dumpy. That's its job. Its job is to answer the questions that I ask it. Let me give you sort of low-level example of how this works. Has anyone ever asked you, who was in that movie? And you're like, oh, wait, hold on, I know who it was. And your brain's like working and working and working. And then in the middle of the night, it comes up with the answer. And it's like, oh, it was Robert Redford. Duh. And then you get this instant relief in your brain because you answered this question that was asked of you 8 hours ago. The same is true for these negative little Tallulah questions you ask yourself. Your brain will give you the answer. And then once it gives you the answer, those thoughts that you think and answer to that negative question become your beliefs about yourself if you do that long enough. So if you're asking yourself constantly, why am I so fat? Why am I so frumpy? Why is life so hard? Why does today suck? When you ask yourself those sort of things and your brain says, because, well, my life sucks, because I am fat, because I'm disgusting, because I'm gross, because I'm ugly, because I'm overweight, because I'm the wrong size, I'm the wrong color, my hair's the wrong color, it's the wrong texture. Your brain will give you all these reasons and a laundry list of things that are wrong with you. And those thoughts are swirling around in your head. And it's almost like you get stuck in this negative thought loop. You ask a negative question. You get a negative answer. You feel shame, you feel disgust, you feel defeated, insert negative emotion, and you take action from that place. And for most of you, it's a lot of inaction. You actually don't get ready in the morning. You don't pick out your clothes the night before. You don't drink water or moisturize your face. You don't do any number of things of self-care. And then the result is you prove true that thought that you are frumpy or ugly or insert negative thought. And over again, you start your day out this way every single day. And eventually you'll find that the thoughts you've been thinking, the feelings you've been feeling, the actions you've been taking create this result of a life and a style and a mindset that is so far removed from what you really want. And I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy if you've been stuck in this loop for a while, and you're not alone. And there is a way we can unstuck you from this negative thought loop. There's a way we can swing you off that hamster wheel. I want to give you so much hope today with this tool because it gave me so much hope when I first learned it. And I learned it from an amazing coach, Martha Ayim, A-Y-I-M. She teaches women about binge eating and how to stop a cycle of binge eating. She's fabulous and she's kind. And she taught a workshop about powerful questions. So I want to offer you the gift of the tool that she taught me so that you can take it into your daily lives. And really, this applies so much to the style work we do because when you ask yourself a better question, you think a better thought. You'll feel a more positive emotion and you'll take action from that place. So here's an example of my top 5 style questions to ask yourself. What would fabulous do? I mean, think about how powerful that question is. As opposed to you going to your closet and weeding through all the things that don't fit you. I know who you are. I see you, boo-boo. Get rid of that stuff. Go listen to the last podcast episode about time traveling closets. Anyway, I digress. What would fabulous do? Imagine if you approached getting ready every day with that powerful question. In those moments of self-doubt or insecurity when you're nitpicking yourself, what if you stopped your Tallulah brain in her tracks and you said, what would fabulous do? Think of how powerful that is. The second question, what is the one thing I can do to make this so much better? Now, I know a lot of us get to the middle of our day or the end of our day and we look at what we chose to wear in the morning, and that initial excitement about our outfit has certainly worn off, and we're looking at like, what the hell am I wearing? Instead of asking, what the hell am I wearing? A better question would be, what is the one thing I can do to make this so much better? What outfit tweak can I make? If my hair didn't exactly hold up throughout the day, what is one thing I can do to make this better? Extra hairpins, a little more hairspray? What about your makeup if it's completely melted off by the end of the day? Did you need to drink more water? Did you need a little powder? What is one thing you can do to make this better? Very powerful question. A third one, and this one is one that I have to practice myself, my darlings, so I feel you. What would I do / wear if I wasn't worried about other people's opinions? Oftentimes I find myself toning down my 1940s style because I think other people will think I'm dressing in character or costume, that perhaps they won't take me as seriously. I also worry about some of the comments I get from my male counterparts when I dress 1940s style, especially the older attorneys who often tell me I remind them of some old sweetheart of theirs. It's a little creepy sometimes, I must say. So oftentimes in the morning when I'm getting ready, I find myself factoring in other people's opinions. Nay, my darling, that's Tallulah brain all over it. So instead, I have to ask myself, and I recommend that you do the same. If I wasn't afraid of what other people were thinking, or what I think other people are thinking, because I don't actually know, what would I wear? How would I style myself? I mean, really think about that, especially for you people pleasers out there. If you weren't factoring in other people's opinions, what would you be wearing? How would you be showing up in the world? Now, this one is sort of tongue-in-cheek. It's the fourth one. Tell me how you really feel. And you have to say it in that snarky little accent. Tell me how you really feel. Here's why I think this is a powerful question. And this is especially true for my ladies who run around saying, why am I so fat? I feel so fat. I feel so bloated. I feel so gross. Why do I feel this way? And instead of asking yourself those questions, I want you to stop and ask yourself, tell me how you really feel. Are you just tired? Are you hungry? Do you need a nap? Are you worried about something that's beyond your control? What's really going on for you in this moment? Don't just sideswipe it by saying you feel ugly, you feel blue. Don't sideswipe it by saying you feel fat. Tell me how you really feel. And you'll be so much better served to actually turn a thought around, choose a feeling on purpose, and take action from that place rather than just sliding that all under the rug of, I feel blue or I feel fat. And this is the last question, and this is one of my favorites. What would my future self wear? What would my future self do? This is such a powerful question because I think so many of us are just getting through day to day. We're working to get ourselves out the door. We're getting kids dressed. We're worrying about our boss. We're answering emails. We're fielding telephone calls. And a lot of times, we're not even thinking about our future self, the one we're creating every day by the tiny actions we take. She's so far removed from our minds because we're so caught up in the day-to-day, and Tallulah brain takes over because her job is to automate as many things for us as possible. But usually she's coming from a place of fear and worry and self-doubt. But if we step to our future self and we think about who we're creating 5 years from now, who we're creating a year from now, what woman we're creating 3 years from now, if we step into that future self and we ask ourselves, what would she wear? What would she do? How would she show up? It can be a really big game changer for a lot of us to step from that automated brain, that limbic system, into our prefrontal cortex, our higher brain, our future self. And we can think in terms of long-term goals and not just getting through the day. So, my darling glam gals, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to start listening for those questions you've been asking yourself. Are they creating a negative emotion? Are they creating negative actions throughout the day? That's how you know it is not a useful question. If you find yourself stuck in a thought loop, and every morning you're asking yourself why you're so fat or why you're so ugly, just know that these are not useful questions. And I want you to come up with your own set of powerful questions by maybe asking yourself the exact opposite question or borrowing from my top 5, and I'll run these down again for you. What would fabulous do? What is the one thing I can do to make this so much better? What would I do/wear if I wasn't worried about what other people think? Tell me how you really feel. What would my future self wear/do? If you can't think of any of your own, I want you to borrow these. And I want to see how your brain responds. I want to know what answers it's coming up with. I always love to hear from my glam gals. I'm ridiculously easy to reach. You can reach me on Instagram at Judith Caton. You can reach me on Facebook at New Glam Gal, or just email me, judithcaton@gmail.com. All right, let's get it, glam gals. Miss J out. P.S. I want other glam gals to be able to find the podcast. And because iTunes has changed its algorithm, it's a little bit harder to do that these days. One easy way for other glam gals to find the podcast is for you to leave a review on iTunes. You can leave a star rating or actual comments, and I read every single one. All right, let's get it, glam gals. Miss J out.